Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Top Chef Junior is back, my friend. Season 2 premieres this Saturday, September 8th on Universal Kids with 12 new adorable and frustratingly talented contestants, a whole bunch of brand new challenges, a slew of special celebrity guest judges, all kinds of surprises and excitement. And here to tell us all about it, we have host Vanessa Lachey and head judge Curtis Stone. How about that, everybody? How about we make some noise? That's crazy, right? I'm excited. You sound excited as well. We're going to bring them out here in just a second. But before we do, I believe we have a fantastic trailer for this season. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
This season on Top Chef Junior. It's been a long time since I've been this excited about an elimination challenge.
Oh, this is gonna be so fun. Boom, 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 boom. Yay!
Nice fish.
Give me a fish, give me a fish.
Oh, anchovies, yuck. The door's closing.
You are now locked in the rec room.
What? I'm a little scared.
I have 5 words.
Let's go.
Why can't this experience last forever? That was 6 words, I'm sorry.
One of the beauties about being a chef is learning.
And you've got the perfect steak, right?
Hop behind, hop behind.
This is the time where it gets exciting.
1 minute.
You got this.
What am I gonna do?
Move your hands, move your hands. Cut it.
The pressure is huge, but so is the prize.
It felt like a dish well beyond your years.
You've broken all the rules. It really works.
There it is.
The best benefits of Top Chef is working with so many other great chefs.
Salt. Wait, stop. We're gonna help you. You have us. I know you can do it.
I thought this competition was just gonna be about cooking, but it's so much more than that.
Mum used to make this for us at least once a week.
It's not just competition anymore, we're all family.
Everybody group hug.
Just being here, this is amazing. It's like I've already won.
Come get your trophy.
I meant to be here and I meant to be a chef.
You are Top Chef Junior.
Oh my goodness, guys, make some noise and welcome from Top Chef Junior, Vanessa and Curtis right here. Make some, come on.
Hi.
Come on.
Hi, guys.
Oh, man.
Makes me want to cry. Like, I'm getting choked up watching that, right?
It's crazy. I mean, I don't see all the quick fires that you do on my days when I'm in
So
my
you do know that I work harder than you on the show?
You do. That's true.
No,
All right, there we go.
I'm kidding.
Right out of the gate.
Right, just straight
I
into
can tell
it.
you guys have a lot of fun together.
No, it's funny. Somebody asked me earlier about when I work with you, and to your point, we split it up a lot of times. So I'll do the quick fire challenge, and then he comes for the elimination day, and then the judging part. And so we split up a little bit. And days that he's not there, it's like the set's dead. We need your energy and light,
How sweet.
and your cooking.
How'd you get shafted with the hardest, most upsetting part of the show? How did you? You come for when we got to say bye to the kids. So you got to.
But I still have to say it, and every time I go say it, he leans over and he's like, "All right, you cold-hearted snake, you ready for this?"
Go for it, Dream Crusher.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get a Dream Crusher. That's funny.
How do you tell a child, pack your knives and go?
And that's actually
right?
what I really wanted to explore
There's
with
no
you.
nice way to say it.
There isn't. But one of the things, and I was saying this backstage, that I do love about this is, as hard as those moments are, they are always like infinitely more graceful than adults I've seen on these types of shows.
That's exactly it. The resilience.
The thing that kids have is this incredible attitude, right? Like whether you're teaching them, sometimes I give advice to them and they're sitting there going, okay, great. If I do that on regular Top Chef, they're like, you know,
Yeah, they already know.
Oh, really, chef? Okay, sure, you know better than me. And they have a respect, and you know we're very lucky to have incredible young chefs on the show, and they have a resilience too. You know, so you know even if they're eliminated, the next day they skip back in and they're like, "Hi Vanessa, hi Curtis," and they're just as excited as they were at the beginning.
It's honestly, it's refreshing. I'm not saying that we're all of us here and all of us adults are tainted and jaded.
Oh, we are.
But a little bit.
This is New York. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
This entire block is one whole block of tainted and jaded people right
Everyone's
here.
in the audience.
Bare minimum.
we we come into this and they're just so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's so inspiring. It's so heartwarming to see because they're just grateful and appreciative for the experience. They're like, I get these amazing fresh ingredients. I get to work with Curtis Stone and Emeril and Graham Elliot, Tiffany, Derry. You know, we can go on and on. Richard Blais. They're just so appreciative of this opportunity. I'm like, you're right. That's what this is about, is learning and what we're going to take out of this and how we're going to kind of, with that pebble effect, you know, have a reaction and share it with the world. So it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
And it is, and their enthusiasm is kind of like infectious as you're watching it. Like, you get more excited, and it's just so fun to see them. They think you guys are superheroes. Not to suggest that you aren't, but the way they react, they borderline faint sometimes. When they see you for the first time, they're gasping. They're like, oh my God. Like, they were so blown away. Do you go home, not get a similar reaction from your family and go, I don't know if you realize this, but at
I'm
work,
a big deal.
I'm a big deal.
I'm a star, mate. Yes, I remember the first time I fed my son something he didn't like, and he literally just put his head over the plate and opened his mouth, and it just came straight back out. And I was like, oh, wow. That's never happened to me before, actually.
You're like, at work, you know, people pay top dollar for that. And they get on waiting lists to come to my restaurants.
Spat it back out onto the same plate I served it. And you know what? That's food, right? Like, and that's real honesty, and that's what kids have in high doses, so...
In high doses. I think that's the beauty of season 2 as well. They know what to expect from watching season 1, so they come in with a little bit more of that slight underlying confidence. So they're a lot more comfortable and a lot more verbal than our young chefs in season 1, because season 1 we didn't know what was around the next corner. Yeah. They're expecting it, so it was definitely it was a lot more colorful. Is that a way to say it?
It was, and the challenges were probably a bit more intense as well. You know, because season 1 caught us a little off guard, if I'm being really frank, because the quality of the cooking was phenomenal. You know, and I was kind of, you know, even of the other guest chefs that would come on, the other guest judges, they'd sit there and they'd be like, this is as good as normal Top Chef. You know, like, how's that possible? These kids are 11.
It really is.
And they really did a good job. So we're like, all right, we're going to make it a bit more difficult in season 2.
Well, that's the other thing, too. Watching it is like, I'm blown away by just like their conviction and how confident they are in what they want to be and what they want to do. When I was 10, I'm pretty sure I wanted to be like a Ninja Turtle. And like, they like know this is it. Like, this is what.
But you are. You're like the blue Ninja Turtle.
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
I never lost. I never let go of the dream.
Raphael.
I, watch to shoes coordination. They don't let me wear the eye mask anymore. No. But yeah, but like, seriously, they're so sure of what it is they were put on this earth to do, and they're so good at it.
But I think that's the beauty of like this show and social media and just the World Wide Web, for that matter. They're able to see that there's more than just their little bubble of their passion. And when we put them together, they're like, there's other like-minded kids like me who enjoy truffle and who enjoy like the actual process of cutting a proper steak, and then who have mentors like Curtis Stone. And again, all the other chefs, guest judges we've had come on that I've listed, they feel like this is right, and this is me, and they aspire to be him. I mean, we've had so many people on both season 1 and season 2, and when we get celebrities, they're very appreciative. They're like, oh, great, I've seen your show. But when we get people from the culinary world, they're like,
oh my God, it's Wolfgang! It's actually Wolfgang!
They freak out because that's their dream. And to be able to nurture that, I feel incredibly lucky. And I get to go home and get inspired by these young kids and try it myself.
Well, that's just it. I'm curious, being around all these kids and how that does sort of influence what happens when you go home with your family, with your children.
It does.
And like how you guys talk about food. Obviously, it's already on the menu. But like now that you see these little guys and how inspired everyone is, like what do you bring home with you? What happens there?
Let me tell you what Vanessa takes home with her. Because she gets so jazzed when we do this show, and I'm not joking. She goes home and she cooks all the dishes that the kids have cooked, and I see it on her Instagram feed, and I'm like, you put me to shame. Like, you go home and you do it all.
But because I'm like, if a 12-year-old can do it, then I can do it. It's more of like a self-struggle that I have.
But you do, and it's good.
But
you
I
do
get
good.
Inspired. Yeah. Thanks, Curtis. I mean, you're over there, with 2 very successful restaurants in LA, Maud and Gwen, and so he's actually going to work. I'm going home to play in the kitchen. And I think that's the beauty of this show, is that we have influence from amazing chefs like Curtis and some of the other chefs, but also it's relatable. You can go home and watch it with family or friends or your children or your friends' friends and their kids, and you don't get scared of the kitchen. Right. Most people are scared of the kitchen. But to your point about getting inspired when we get home, Curtis gave me the best advice. I was like, how old were you when you started cooking? And he said 4. I'm like, 4? I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm like, I can't even imagine them in the kitchen. So I did. I brought them in the kitchen. He's like, stay away from the knives. Whether you teach them now or at 10 or at 15, it's in the house. Teach them right. Bring them into the kitchen. You have to clean up a mess. You're either going to clean up a whole bunch of cars and Legos and toys and horses and crayons in the living room, or you're going to clean up flour and salt and parsley and herbs in the kitchen. So why not bring them into that environment and experience it with them and spend time with them? I'm like, that's brilliant. So because of him, my kitchen's a mess, and my kids are happier. And
You've got to embrace the mess in a kitchen. It's got to be a place that's okay to get messy and turn it into a real disaster once in a while. Because you do everything else, whether it's your bathroom or your kids' playroom or the backyard, whatever. You're not scared of getting that all out of order, and you shouldn't be in the kitchen either. I think it's just resetting that thought of cooking's a chore and I've got to do it to survive, as opposed to it's actually a place that I can go and have some fun and enjoy myself.
Finding joy. I mean, I find a lot of joy in my kitchen with music and a glass of wine and some food. So,
totally. What do you think are the long-term positive effects of getting that started early, as opposed to, just chicken nuggets and French fries? Here you go. And then when you're older, we'll figure out what you like. Like, what are the benefits to getting them started early with that?
I think first of all, they understand where food comes from, right? And as soon as you get that, then I think that it grows a greater appreciation for it. I garden with my kids, and they love that gardening process, and they're out in the garden and they can identify vegetables and understand when something's ripe and understand that something needs a bit of love and care too in order for it to grow. So I think there's some good positive stuff there, and if the more kids are around food, the more they'll accept it as something that they can eat, you know, where if you stick a red pepper in front of someone for the first time and they've never seen it in the first 12 years of their life, of course they're not going to want to eat it, because they're like, well, I don't know what to do with that. I'm not going to eat that,
I love also how you explained them understanding where it's from. Curtis is being very humble right now and explaining it, but I'll just brag about you. And your knowledge of food is so humbling. I mean, just using the whole, like, for example, we had carrots on. He's like, use the carrots for your stew, and then use the green part for, like, a sauce. Maybe make a pesto. Use it nose to tip, nose to tail, just the top to bottom. Everything is reusable, is usable. You can actually create something out of it. The egg, understanding where it came from with the chicken, understanding about the chicken. And to teach that to his kids at such a young age, they have such appreciation for food and less waste. And I think that it has to become a generational thing, not to get so serious, but really it is about being mindful. And we try to teach that to these young chefs because this is the next generation of cooks in our country and in the world. And with people like Curtis educating them, it really is helpful.
It's incredibly encouraging, too, because they are so good.
I know. I'm like, wait, you use what for this? It's amazing. You just don't, we don't realize that. And there's so much waste that it's unfortunate.
Well, it's just fun to watch that freedom of creativity and that freedom of expression that's usually we're used to seeing, like, oh, look, they made the tree pink instead of green. It's like here they're making this incredible dish that we would never think of because they're kids. They haven't been told the right and wrong ways the way we get it hammered into us.
They're not jaded yet.
But there we are. I didn't want to say jaded again, but that's 100% it. They're not.
Yeah.
I'm wildly curious. What did your kids spit out? What did you make? I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's like you farm all your own stuff. You know what you're doing in the kitchen. What could you have possibly made that was...
I like how you put it, though. Spit it out on the plate I served it on. I'm like,
right,
it's actually,
like,
you make it...
There was no napkin involved. It was just like straight out. It was a pasta, which I knew that he would like, with some seafood. So it might have been like a bit of calamari or something that was maybe a bit of a strange texture.
Texture with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, when you actually drill into what people like and dislike, more often than not, it's around texture and not taste. Because, if you think about an oyster or a mussel or a scallop or, a lot of stuff that people at the beginning of eating are really scared by, or they've had it once and they're like, wow, that was so different that I didn't enjoy it. In my case, came straight back out, in my son's case. And, I think that, again, that just goes back to your experiences. I ate sushi for the first time as an Aussie kid when I was 17 years old. My kids love sushi because they've had it all their life, and we live in LA and there's good sushi around. So they're like, sushi. I can remember going and I was like, this fish is raw, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
And it's a slimy texture, and it is weird the first time you have it if you've never had it.
How do you? This by no means the story reflecting that maybe your son's a picky eater, but I'm curious how you guys handle, or if you had to handle picky eaters. In my household, Italian household, eat it, you like it. Eat it. That's it. Just eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. That was it. You weren't allowed to be a picky eater. You just ate it, and 9 times out of 10, you liked it.
Well, for me, I don't want to make something else. If they're like, I don't want this, I'm not making something else because I got 3 kids under 6. You guys, I don't have time to be.
This is it.
This is what we made, okay?
One and done.
It's one and done. So I've tried certain, I could do stories or I can make it into things. I actually bought these plates. I don't know the name of the plates, but it's just it's a bald guy. He has 2 eyes and that's it. You actually, and a mouth.
Yeah.
So you add the nose with like, I've given him like macaroni hair and like cauliflower necklace or, raspberry noses, and you actually use food and they're interested. I'm like, I don't think you can eat all his hair. He's like, watch me eat all his hair, Mom. And I'm going, yeah, you're eating all the pasta.
It's interesting.
How many face plates you got at home?
I don't have face plates, but I'm going to go and get one. It's funny, I've got one kid that has literally eaten anything you can imagine. He's eaten foie gras and frog's legs and caviar and you name it, and he's down with all of it. Not at once, but different times of his life. And so I always sort of was like, they'll eat what you introduce them to, and I had like pretty strong opinions on it. My second little guy is a lot more picky. He is, and it's driving me crazy. I don't want to admit it in public, but it's a challenge with him, and it's a lot slower. And it's probably because their experiences are different. And I don't know that it's about personal preference and personal taste. I'm a bit more of a believer of it's about what you introduce them to. Because otherwise, India would be full of half of the population not liking curry, and that's just not how it goes. Like if you live in India, you get introduced to spicy food and you eat it and you enjoy it, you know. In Japan, you don't find many Japanese people that don't like raw fish. I think it's just what you're introduced to. And your second kid sort of gets...
the shaft, a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to go with whatever the first one you had time. You're like, we're gonna make you folk Hudson. It's gonna be amazing. With the second one, you're like, this is what you got. So you want it?
You want the buttered noodles? Go for it, mate.
Go for it. I don't care.
Speaking of challenges, we're gonna turn it over to the audience in a second. But I'm curious because the challenges are you get a taste of them in that little preview. Do you guys get involved with coming up with those? I know you were saying early on that because these kids are familiar after season 1, you wanted to turn the heat up a little bit. I'm seeing how many cooking puns I can throw into this conversation, by the way. And so I'm curious, did you guys get involved with that part of the process as well?
Like making up the quick fires?
The quick fires and all that stuff.
There's a tried true format that we always call it the OG Top Chef, the older version. And so the beauty of Top Chef Junior is it follows in the footsteps with most of the elements, but we've also catered some of it to a younger generation. Obviously, like we haven't thrown them like worms or, random things to cook with. We get to walk them through like each quickfire and each challenge, but for the most part, there's definitely a formula that the production company knows works, and that the director's amazing with directing, and Magical Elves is there's a solid blueprint, and so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the color that we get to bring into it is while that challenge is going on, how we keep it going, how we push it along, how we dissect it literally and figuratively. So yeah.
Very cool.
Look, there's all sorts of different challenges. We were talking about it before, trying to come up with some for next season, because we're trying to push the executives over there at Universal Kids to commit to season 3, which I think they should do today.
I was shocked there was only 2 seasons. I was like, this show is such a joy.
Well, these young kids are still in school, so we have to battle
Get them out! I'm kidding.
We battle with their school schedule, and I think that's what makes it difficult. But as far as the first season was nominated for an Emmy, which was such an honor for Curtis and I, and to be a part of that coming off the ground and then having that recognition. And then we were able to get the second season out around their spring break, so they had some time off, but they still had to stop down a lot for school. And so now we just finished right before summer started, so we didn't have enough time to get another one going. So it's just about them being in school. Honestly, you're
scheduling the talent.
Kids.
Yeah, that's what it usually boils down.
Scheduling the talent with education.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Conflicting issues.
I'm getting the signal. We got 3 questions. We're gonna turn it over to the audience in just a second. But everyone here is gonna take a minute while I do something really self-indulgent and ask a couple of these questions. I want to know because I got a great kitchen gadget recently that I'm really a big fan of.
What is it?
Really simple one. It's so stupid, but I'm so excited about it. It's
called a plug.
No. Italian garlic. But garlic's a big deal, right? So I found there's this little thing. You put the garlic in, you roll it, and it dices it up super fast, so I could throw it in, make a sauce, what have you. And you don't dirty up a cutting board or anything like that. You just put it in.
Am I the only one that enjoys chopping garlic?
I
love
the
smell. It
I love
reminds
the
me of
smell.
my grandmother.
It's on your hands forever.
Yeah. Then you use a sink. If you have a stainless steel sink, I told you this. You think I'm crazy. You put soap on your hands and you just wash it on the stainless steel. Whatever part of your sink is stainless steel. That's why they have those stainless steel.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
It does.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
Next time you smell like garlic, put soap on your hands and rub it around anything stainless steel, and you're gonna look crazy, and it's gonna go away.
Fair enough. Anyway,
it's better than when you're walking down the street 2 days after and you're going like this, seeing if it still smells.
Or
you know, 'cause you can still smell the garlic, and someone sees you do that, and they're like, weird. Like, what are you doing?
So I have this silly gadget. I love it. I want to know, do you have a gadget or something in the kitchen? Is it blasphemous for you to like a gadget as a chef that isn't a sharp
I love
knife?
gadgets.
Give me a kitchen gadget. What's
I want to see more about your little garlic crusher.
I'm going to show you this thing. It's not a crusher.
Did you bring it with you to work?
Oh, I didn't think that far ahead, but I can find a picture of it for sure.
Yeah, I want to see.
I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah.
So I have a new gadget. It's called a chop and mash, and it's a masher on one side, and then there's a handle in the middle, and the other side has like fins down the bottom. So that's what you call a chopper. For when you're doing ground beef, you know your brown ground beef, and then you got to stand there with a wooden spoon and break it up. This, you just like hit it half a dozen
on
times.
The pan?
It just totally, on the pan.
Oh, I'm in love with this idea.
Totally chops the ground beef. It's a game changer. Bolognese, my God, it fixes everything.
Ooh, I need this because you're right. I sit there. I have one spoon. That's one of my good ones. That
you name it.
Wow.
Yeah. You sit here forever with a spoon.
And if you don't, it looks I'm always that person. I ask Nick to brown the meat, and then I go back in after, and I don't tell him this, and he's going to watch this. When he leaves, I have to do it again because he didn't get it small enough.
Right.
You have to get.
I'm going to send you one of these.
All right. Put me down for 2. Okay. So do you have a gadget as well that you got?
I mean, I'm going to get his.
You're going to get his gadget. All right. So we're all in on the gadget
we're
then.
All in on the gadget.
That's the perfect gadget.
Gadgets. I love gadgets.
Oh my God. I got a million of these. Let's go to the audience. Let's go. I'm going to be here forever. First question. We're pointing right here. Microphone. Hello.
Hi there. Welcome.
Hi.
So in terms of the challenges that you guys were speaking about, do you find it like more or less challenging dealing with children and giving honest feedback to them than obviously dealing with adults? How's that work for your own psyche with trying to give like the most honest feedback without breaking hearts?
I mean, that's a good point, but that's what I think is the beauty of, I think, Curtis and I, is that we're both professionals, but we're also both parents. So he has 2 boys, I have 2 boys and a girl, and there's a layer of how we speak to our children, and we see these young chefs as like an extension of our family. And so we want to be tough on them. We want them to get better. We want them to understand how you respect the kitchen, you respect the products, you respect the ingredients, but also you are 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we try to say it in a way that's going to be educational, understanding, and inspiring to them. He puts the gauntlet down, and they look at him, and you would think like somebody normally would either like cry or what. They look at him and say, "Yes, chef." And they do it. These young chefs want to learn and they want to be better. And when they respect someone like they respect Curtis, they take it as for what it is, I think.
You know, I think being super honest with them is important because it means that when you're giving them real praise, it means way more. Where if it's always praise, then it kind of dilutes when it's real. You know what I mean? So, and we sort of say that to them at the top of the show. Like before we even start filming, we're like, listen, guys, we're not going to beat around the bush. We're going to give you honest feedback. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's going to help you. And if you listen to that feedback, you'll be able to grow from it. And they really take that advice on, I think, way more than adults do, actually. Because, you know, it's interesting. We have all these preconceived ideas as adults, but they don't. They're used to hearing from their parents and their teachers. And we're able to give them some good feedback.
But we're also not saying it in a way that's a dream, like, crusher.
Right.
Speaking of dream crushers, it's not like, okay, this is crap. He's like, okay, these noodles are a little cooked too long, and maybe you could have salted the water better. Did you salt the water? No? Okay, we'll salt the water next time. And did you taste the sauce? No, when you need to taste the sauce, maybe it's a little. So it's not just, this is crap. It's, here's why you can make this better. And they're like, got it, got it, got it, got it. You know, I'm sure if we just said, this tastes like crap.
Hey, not for nothing.
They'd cry.
Do you ever think of telling adults instead of this is crap? Here's what, hey, look, all you got to do is salt the water and taste it. It's not as good of a show, is it?
But if I looked at an adult and I said to them, did you salt the water? Like, I just think of me saying that to Nick, and he'd be like, yes, of course I salted the water. Right? Why do I look stupid? And I'm like, no, I'm just saying, this doesn't...
That's the problem. Right? Yeah, okay, there it is. No, I knew there was a reason. I was like, I had to walk through it with you, and that's totally it. Okay. Thank you for that. That was perfect. We got a couple more. Next one's all the way back here.
Hi. I wanted to know, might be a bit weird, but has there ever been a case where a child would add an ingredient that you didn't expect, and it ends up being so good you use that recipe at home?
Yes.
Wow.
It happens a lot, actually.
We're like, what? The best one was season 1, that tip you got. The burger.
Oh, yeah.
Fuller. I mean, it wasn't crazy, but it was like, what'd you do? Man, that's genius.
What'd he do?
He put a little block of butter in the center of his burger, and then when the burger was fully cooked, the butter sort of melts and just releases this, good butter taste into the burger. So it made the burger ridiculously juicy, but he got a really nice sear on the outside, and I was like, if this wasn't on television, I'd be just taking that as my own. Very, very clever. What about Rihanna? In the finale, she did a black pepper short crust pastry. She did a little tart, little pie, but she put black pepper in the short crust, and it just sort of, the pepperiness and the blackberries or the fruit that she used, it just balanced really well. You don't think about this kind of stuff quite often, and I think that creativity is still really freeing kids this age, so they're not scared to take that chance, which is rad when it works out for them.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. And then we say, have you tried this before? And they're like, nope. And I'm like, you're trying it for the first time on Top Chef Junior? Yep. Why? And they're like, because we had the machine and the ingredient. I'm like, that makes sense. Okay, nicely done. They have nothing to lose is how they look at it. They're like, we've been given this opportunity and blessed with these amazing mentors and appliances. They're like, I'm going for broke right now.
Yeah, why wouldn't I take
I?
the risk? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's so
And
awesome.
some of this little guy here, Eric, who's got the fry pan and using his flipper there as a visor. You'd say to him, so Eric, you use shrimp in this stir fry. What made you decide to put the shrimp in? And he'd be like, well, I decided to put the shrimp in the stir fry because I like shrimp. And you're like, it's a good answer, mate. That makes total sense. And he would just sort of rationalize everything in the most simple, but obvious way that makes you go, yep, that's right.
Why.
There is a joy in watching him take that journey and arrive, and because I like it, and that's why. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's awesome. Love this show. Was that one more? We're gonna do one more, and it's right here in the back, red couch.
Hi. So we are in New York City, one of the culinary capitals of the world. I'm just wondering if you have any recommendations or favorite spots in the city that you like to eat at.
Oh, you're an old New York girl.
I'm telling you, I lived here back in TRL days. You guys remember that? When music was on TV, remember that? When I was able to wear bikinis, remember that? 20 years ago. And it's changed. That's the beauty of, to your point, it being one of the culinary things just constantly circulate and rotate. And when I come here, I have to ask, what's the best restaurant and what's the best hotel? I have to text my friends here because I don't know. I mean, I know a couple people that came on the show that just opened restaurants here. Was it some chicken, the dirty chicken or the crazy chicken?
Dirty French?
No. Man, I'm embarrassed.
There's a place.
I'm embarrassed, I don't know.
There's a place called Loring Place that's ridiculously good. It's the chef who was at ABC Kitchen before there. He's got a real way around vegetables. Yeah, he's super talented. There's a lot of good fancy restaurants in New York. I live in Madison Park and Le Bernardin and Danielle. And, I think that those sort of institutional restaurants are amazing if you can get to eat at one or two of them. During your time in New York, it's a special, it's also a moment in time. They'll be here for 20 years, but they won't be here forever. So it's cool to experience that part of New York.
I also like stopping by Shake Shack and eating it in the park.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just saying.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, well, I'm getting the signal. We got to wrap it up. I will say it one more time. Top Chef Junior. It's premiering Saturday, September 8th on Universal Kids. You can also watch all of season 1 online. The show, if you're not watching it, you're crazy. It's phenomenal. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations. I hope you had a lot of fun with us today.
We did.
We sure did.
Perfect.
Cool.
That's perfect. Everybody make some noise, please. Vanessa and Curtis here for hanging out with us. Come on.